the disappointing team so far. When Washington into New York, and I'm going to go into the Wizards in a minute. When I got this job at ESPN back in 2017, one of the big things when I sat down with the people who oversee SportsCenter, our content group, is whenever you say something, you've got to own it, right? So you're not going to backtrack. You're not going to kind of, play Monday morning quarterback. You're not going to have amnesia. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks ago when the Wizards were rolling, they were 11-5. I said on Twitter, the Westbrook trade, where Washington got back Dinwiddie and KCP, Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, Aaron Holiday. I said that was probably that could go down as one of the great trades in the last 20 years. I am going to own it. I read social media. I see Laker fans commenting as far as, you still think that's one of the great trades? It's great as far as where the Wizards were. That was a team that was in that land of nowhere. I get it with Westbrook and Beal, but Tommy Shepard, their GM, had to do something to kind of shake it up. They have struggled. They are 1-6 in their last 7 games. They are 4-10 in their last 14. I'm going to talk about it today on NBA Today. You've got the future of Bradley Beal hanging over their head as far as I don't see him signing that extension. It makes no sense. I think Beal will go into free agency and he will look at his options. What are his options? There are not many teams out there with cap space when you look at teams like San Antonio, Orlando, potentially Memphis, Detroit. So I think Beal is going to look at where this team is, what deals are there at the deadline. I don't see Tommy Shepard content as far as the roster that is in place, certainly how this team has, how it has stumbled. So I am going to own it. Just like when I said Golden State wasn't going to make the playoffs after they lost KD and Clay was injured, and Warrior fans went crazy. People at ESPN went crazy. They thought I didn't know what I was talking about. I had a very smart man who oversees SportsCenter, I'm not going to say his name, came and sat with me and he says, now you own that. And I'm going to own it when I said that that Wizards transaction, that 5-for-1 deal with Westbrook, is one of the better transactions that I've seen in the last 20 years. And I'm going to stick with that. So that's a little bit about the Wizards there. Certainly a disappointment of how they played. And I think their head coach, Wes Unseld, said, a little bit of their spirit has been taken out as far as, they're 35-16 in the fourth quarter, Sacramento on Wednesday night, getting blown out in the first half, playing to catch up here. I'm interested to see how this team regroups. Spencer Dinwiddie has not played well. I think he's averaging about 8 points, shooting 32%, 17% from 3. Is it because of the ACL and as far as coming back and it's going to take him time? I don't know how much time this Washington team has, especially when you have the Beal future hanging over your head here. So I'm not talking about Beal getting traded at the deadline. I'm not talking about anything like that. But I do think there's another move out there, and that's why when you make that trade and you broke up that contract into 4 or 5 different players, now you have a ton of tradable assets. The other team is the Knicks, right? Certainly a disappointment, 12-16 out of the top 10 in the Eastern Conference right now. I don't know what their identity is. And I had someone close to their organization tell me we've lost our identity. And when you're 30 games in and you don't know what your identity is, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. And I think you traded some of that identity when you didn't re-sign Reggie Bullock and you brought in Kemba Walker. Low risk move, right? 2 years, $16 million, low risk move. Evan Fournier, a little bit of a high risk move, especially 4 for 72. I was on board. It's public knowledge. I liked what New York did. Singles and doubles. If there's not a big fish out there, don't go out and spend a whopper of money or don't give up draft assets. So I think the honeymoon is over for Leon Rose last year. They it was all peaches and cream here as far as how that team went. They overachieved. I think they were a little bit exposed in that Atlanta series. Of course, my screen just went out, so I got to pull up my notes again. So I think New York, certainly where they have with draft picks, they've got the Charlotte pick, they've got the Dallas pick, they've got 7 of their own first-round picks here. They've got tradable contracts here. The other thing, too, is regarding their roster. If you look at their roster, who's gotten better on that team, right? I think only Obi Toppin is probably the one guy that has gotten better. So that is team disappointment, certainly with where Washington's going. They're still in it. I think they can still jump to that top 6, and certainly where New York has played.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.